It's February 2020. I'm standing in a campaign office in snowy Des Moines, Iowa, surrounded by pizza boxes, empty coffee cups, and people I've been in the trenches with for months. We just found out. Pete Buttigieg won the Iowa Democratic caucus for president. A mayor from South Bend, Indiana, beating heavyweights like Biden and Harris. No one thought it could be done, but yet we did it. We're laughing, we're crying, we're hugging, we're talking about which primary state we're going to go to next, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and I'm packing my bags too, but I am not going to a primary state. My husband Brian is in the Navy, and he just got orders to move bases, which means that I had to leave this campaign and everything I had worked so hard for behind. I remember driving out of Iowa, seeing the cornfields blur past me with an ache in my gut, because it was in that moment that I realized that I had just joined the military, but not as a member, as a spouse. When I say military, what comes to mind? Maybe Saving Private Ryan, maybe Top Gun. But what if I told you that the real force behind a military member isn't their equipment, but rather it's their families, their significant others, their spouses? In naval aviation, the wingman is the person who holds the formation steady. My husband is in naval aviation. But in his world, the real wingmen are the wing women. The military spouses who are back home holding the home front together while they serve our country. I've met so many incredible military spouses, and the one thing that I'm learning is that the world does not know what it's like to be one. So today, I want to tell you the story of what it's like to be a wingwoman. If I asked you right now to pack up your bags and move across the country all in less than 2 weeks, how many of you could do it? Well, that's exactly what happened to my friend Brooke. After her husband finished pilot training in Texas, the Navy moved them to Whidbey Island, Washington, a literal island they had never heard of before. And here's the kicker, they had to do it in less than 2 weeks because they were sending him to survival training off the grid right after. So, Brooke had to quit her job, pack up her home, move across the country, find a new home, settle in, and find a new job all on her own. There's a saying that the military has, which is home is where the Navy takes you. That may sound sweet on a placard, but what it really means is this. Military spouses have to build their lives with very little control over how that life unfolds. Have a community that you finally feel like you fit into? Well, don't get too comfortable. Settled into your home? Not for long, it's now time to get ready for deployment. Have a job that you love. Also, don't get too comfortable. The military spouse unemployment rate is 5 times that of the national average. Sometimes, being a military spouse can feel like you're sitting in the back of a plane, headed somewhere that you didn't choose, on a schedule you didn't pick. You can't see the cockpit, you have no say in the route, so all you could really do is buckle up and hope that you land safely. After a while, that loss of control feeds a loss of identity, because you become anchored into an institution that you do not belong to, but you must constantly serve. Another part of the military spouse journey that often goes unseen is how closely we live with mortality. You may have seen headlines like this. And to most of the public, they probably feel a little distant. But to us, they feel very real. Picture this. It's around Christmas. There's a group of us military spouses. We're baking cookies in the kitchen. We're laughing about something when suddenly Alyssa's phone buzzes. No one calls this late, unless there had been a crash on the aircraft carrier. No further details, just that. And the room went still. I instinctively found myself glancing at the door, terrified of the knock. And for those of you who are in the military, you know that the knock is not your Amazon delivery man. Everything turned out to be fine, but my husband has lost close friends to aviation crashes and many more colleagues, most of whom were in their 20s. There's another saying. Every time someone dies, a piece of the community dies with them. My husband has an alive day, June 24th, which is the day that he survived an uncontrolled jet spin and survived with his life by literal seconds. I wear these wings around my neck every day. And I've had people actually come up to me and ask, are those Victoria's Secret wings? Sorry to disappoint, they're not. They're actually my husband's naval aviator wings, and I wear them as a small comfort against the real danger that he faces every single day. So now you must be thinking, okay, so this is a love story between a military spouse and their military member, right? There is that. But I think the true love story lives between the military spouses. There's nothing like a spouse going into labor while her husband is deployed. And without hesitation, we all jump in. One of us rushes her to the hospital. Another one of us takes care of her kids. And the rest of us make sure that she has food for weeks as she navigates birth and recovery all alone. We show up for each other. Always. I would not be here today without them. So remember my moment in Iowa? I refuse to let that be the end of my story. I got creative. I ended up creating a firm where I advised political candidates across the country. I then moved to New York to run campaigns, flying back and forth from the East to West Coast just to be able to see Brian in between deployments. I then joined a tech company where I spent 50% of my time on the road just to keep up with meetings, and I have spent the past 2 years apart from him here at Stanford. And frankly, it's been exhausting. But for the first time, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Brian's getting out of the military this year, and I just landed my dream job, which means after 10 years of holding the formation steady, I finally get to fly. But here's the thing. Not everybody gets this moment. So many military spouses become collateral damage because their lives don't fit traditional employment models. They're still sitting at the back of that plane. Many of you will go on to lead and build companies, hire teams. So the next time you see a military spouse resume cross your desk, I want you to see it differently. Don't see gaps, see adaptability. Don't see short tenures, see someone who had to reinvent their career 2, 3, 4 times and kept going, offer remote work. Don't see risk, see resilience. Be a wingman or wingwoman. I've had a number of sayings throughout my talk, but if I could add just one more to the list, it would be this. Behind every service member is a wingwoman holding the formation steady. It is time that we started seeing her. Thank you.